Hello, my name is Alex Matei, the CTO of Matskin Studios. Today I want to show you our latest update on our graphics engine called Glue Engine. This is a major update on graphics and mechanics. This is a beta version of the engine, so some functions will not work, but the main functions are working. First of all, we have the projects viewer, where you can start new projects or preview the last projects created and reload them. Clicking on start, it will pop up the splash screen and the editor. Second, we have the main toolbar with all the functions such as new map, load map, save map, actors, players, and tools. Tools is a very important section because it allows you to create the whole game, the full game. Let's talk about the main functions of the engine in the tools. In summary, import models. It lets you import all the 3D models created in 3ds Max or Maya, with normal mapping, specular mapping, and diffuse mapping to create the shaders and the graphics. Import weapons, the same as import models. It lets you import weapons, resize them, locate them, and then program them. Import sprites. You can import pictures on the screen to represent flags, weapons, statistics, health, etc., gauges, etc. Lights. You can place in the scene all the lights that you want: cone, spotlight, and point light, with all the colors and ranges that you want. Texture ground. You can texture all the objects in the scene. This is an old calling of the function. In the old version of the engine you could texture just the ground, but here in this version you can texture all the objects in the scene created with the primitives that we will talk about this in a few minutes. Effect Crafter is an application that lets you create graphics in Glue Engine and export them as FX files and then import them with just one line of code. Audio. You can add sounds in the scene, place them where you want, place the range, set some options, and loop. Glue Script. Here you can program every single object in the scene, make them move, animate them, set the shaders, set some sounds, or just delete them when entering an object, etc. Set background music volume. It lets you set the background music of your level and change it. Select background music. You can change the background music of the level. Set ambient light. You can set the ambient light and control the directional light at the same time. Edit weapon controls. You can change the controls of the weapons that you are importing, such as 0, 1, holster, first pistol, etc. Cutscenes. You can add movies to the scene to represent a story of your game. Terrain. Terrain lets you sculpt mountains, hills, etc. Fog. You can set the fog color, fog range, and you can also create clouds. Create ground. This function lets you create an instant plane object and texture them with grass, brick, etc. Set time of day. Here you can set the directional light with the sun and the moon by controlling the camera by right clicking on the mouse and clicking on the control. You can set to be midnight, dusk, or night. You must not worry about the water. The water has already all the shaders applied to it to make it more realistic, and also the clouds and the sky. The sky and the clouds and the water are infinite, so you can expand the world however you want. And we also have underwater shaders with fog. The fog matches the water color. and we have also refraction of the water with also foam. The foam makes it more realistic. Let's create some elements in the scene. We can set the cube's value and create a random room. By setting the values and clicking on the scene, we can make some walls. And move the brush with the arrow keys step by step, or press shift and arrow keys to move it faster. Up and down Q and E. We can set its value to be more thin. And the precisement, the snapping size here, you can set by scrolling the mouse. This applies to camera and the objects at the same time to be more precisely on level designing. We can move the camera to see on the corners and click to place the object. Then we can move on to the next part, to the next phase. Place the second wall. Again, you can precisely place it by scrolling the mouse and then arrow keys, and click to place the object. You notice that the shadows and the lighting are automatically calculated. No light map calculations. Instant rendering. Now we can rotate the brush by clicking on the R or the control button. Precise rotating by placing to 0, placing on the middle, and then move it with the shift and arrow keys. Very easy. Let's place the brush correctly to make the wall. Set the precisement, shift, on the corners, and click, and we have made another wall. And then we'll move on to the next and the final wall. Set the correct position, decreasing the snapping size to 1 to be more precisely, and place the wall. If we want to make holes in the objects like windows or doors, we have to change the brush's values. Let's say, I don't know, 155 by 155, and it's a little bit high, a little bit tall. We can do this. The Z, we must increase it because it needs to go much further to make a hole. Let's say 255. Yeah, that's correct. And let's decrease the X size because it's too large. Say like this, and position the brush before subtracting. We have options such as additive and subtractive. Additive makes you create objects, full objects. You can fill the brush with the objects, as you saw creating the walls, and you can subtract the objects by deleting some polygons from the objects with the brush. Let's make a hole. Build. A message will pop up to explain to you how you can do this. Click OK. Exit. The brush will stay there. And we must select the object that we want to subtract. So clicking on the object and pressing space will automatically create a hole in the object. When we are done, we can move on to the next object to make windows, holes, and you can resize the brush as your heart's desire. So you can make big windows, big doors, how large you want, how deep you want. And in this hole you can import a static mesh with the import models and create in place a frame created in 3ds Max or Maya and make it to look like a basic window. And you also can set the night or the daytime, sorry, and create realistic effects such as light refraction and light rays, as you see here. Pressing escape lets you exit all the functions that you are in. The objects are highlighted by wireframing, so you can see what objects are you highlighting. Also the object's name. Object 10 is selected, object 48 is selected, object 6, so you know very precisely what objects will you select. You can also visit our website www.glueengine.com. We have also a forum where you can chat and report Glue Engine bugs, and you can put your ideas, your new features, and the new features will be reviewed on our company and implement them. Have a nice day. See you next time.